Alright, so we got the full summary for 1099 here. Like, we're going over the full chapter. Yesterday, we were only really able to go over about a third of it. So we're getting into so much more here, so let's just get into it. Chapter starts where the last one ended. King Bakuri heard news about what the King of Goa Kingdom did there. Burned down the Gray Terminal. So he's doing now the same thing in the Sorbet Kingdom. Burning down villages and shooting people who protest. Kuma couldn't stand it anymore, so he destroyed the palace and defeated King Bakuri. This event was later called One-Man Revolution of Sorbet. Shortly after that, in Marijois, Saint Saturn heard the news that there's a new king at Sorbet Kingdom. Kuma couldn't refuse the people's demand, so he became the king of Sorbet Kingdom. However, he still lived in the church, and the one who actually ran Sorbet Kingdom was King Bulldog, who was the king of 2 generations ago. So you would think that this is pretty much the end of Kuma being the king of the Sorbet Kingdom and King Bakuri, but no, they're actually gonna run it back again. But this is just, showing how Kuma became the king of Sorbet Kingdom, because that was like his backstory, but also, showing us that he was kind of just a shadow ruler, because, he was doing so much in the story that there had to be somebody else that was running the kingdom. And we have King Bulldog here. One day, Bonnie ate the Toshi Toshi no Mi by accident. We can't see when she ate it or why the fruit was in Sorbet Kingdom, and turned into her adult form, the same form that she uses in the present. Everyone was shocked, thinking that she was Ginny. So here we go. This is when Bonnie ate the Toshi Toshi no Mi, which is, I guess, the first time it's being referred to as in the series. Oda revealed this in the last SBS that just came out. I think it was like volume 107. I could be wrong about that. And of course, this is typical of One Piece characters, or some of them. I mean, we have seen that, a few of the times when we see a character consume a devil fruit, it's like they're a kid. But as Ridon is saying here, we're not really finding out why the fruit was in Sorbet Kingdom. And it's just, at this point, we probably won't ever really know how these devil fruits get scattered about and why these kids are just randomly stumbling upon them and accidentally eating them. It's like they're so rare, but it's just so common for kids to just accidentally eat them. And yeah, we're going into the big controversy of child Bonnie becoming an adult. I know, problematic, but hey, it's Oda. Or more so, should I say, it is manga. King Bulldog visited the church with his mother Connie. Bonnie tried practicing her transformation while she looked at Connie, so her old form becomes very similar to Connie. There's a gag scene in this part with everyone keeps mistaking them with one another. Okay, so I guess this is Oda filling in some loose ends here, because back in the Reverie, Bonnie, of course, used her Connie form, I guess you could say, as a disguise to sneak into the Reverie. Because everyone was none the wiser, they just thought, oh, she's the queen mother, I guess you would call her, of Sorbet Kingdom. I forget what the title they gave her. King Bulldog brought bad news to Kuma. Former King Bakuri, who escaped yet again, had now the world government on his side. The news came out that Kuma had overthrown him for power, and that he was now the evil ruler of Sorbet Kingdom. So the Marines will lend their forces to Bakuri to take Sorbet Kingdom back. So I guess this goes into Saturn hearing about the news earlier. Saturn is, I guess, putting Bakuri in there so that he kind of can control who the leader or the king of Sorbet Kingdom is, which I guess is the case with most of these countries, to be honest, it seems like. I mean, I'm not saying all of them are evil, especially like the ones that show up to the Reverie, but it seems like this is probably a recurring theme with them, and they're all kind of under the thumb of the Celestial Dragons, or even some just the Gorosei. And this is also, of course, how Kuma is getting his tyrant moniker. Kuma decided to take care of Bakuri for good, but he won't be able to remain in Sorbet Kingdom after that. Kuma entrusted Sorbet Kingdom to Bulldog. He will take Bonnie to live with him in the castle, and will make sure that Bonnie won't touch natural light. This is in reference to Bonnie's sapphire scale disease that she still currently has. Kuma then went out to see Bakuri face to face. Bakuri was accompanied by a marine fleet in the middle of the sea. He said, "Kill him! He's the tyrant that took the kingdom from me." Kuma sank all the ships by himself. We can't see if Bakuri is dead or not. After this incident, Kuma fled to the sea and became a pirate. He had many evil nicknames and a very high bounty due to his strength. We can't see his bounty in this chapter. Meanwhile, Bonnie was living under Connie's care in Sorbet Kingdom Castle. So I think Kuma's frozen bounty when he was a warlord was 296 million. So while that was impressive, pre-time skip, I guess, nowadays it's nothing. So I guess he didn't really get too out of control before joining the warlords or eventually meeting up with Vegapunk, as we're going to see. Bonnie says, "When I turn 10, I will become a pirate just like Dad." Kuma traveled around the world searching a cure for Bonnie's disease. He visited all the islands where he sent the Straw Hat crew during the Sabaody incident. He talked with people of Torino Kingdom, with scientists from Wetheria, with Heracles in the Boyne Archipelago. Even Abdullah and Jeet tried to get Kuma's bounty, but Kuma destroyed their ships. Abdullah and Jeet from the Marimar no Mi tournament at Dressrosa. Heels turned babyface. Finally, Kuma reunited with Dragon in Win Granma's ship in the middle of the sea. All current revolutionary commanders were on the ship except Sabo and Koala. Dragon told Kuma that Ivankov and Inazuma were both captured and sent to prison. No more details about this. Meanwhile, Kuma had become a king and a tyrant and now a pirate. So back to Ivankov and Inazuma being captured and sent to prison. I guess this is just Oda also clearing up some loose ends here because, Ivankov and Inazuma need to be in Impel Down at some point for them to meet with Luffy. So I guess this is the point where it happened. To be honest, it kind of feels like Oda almost forgot about that. It was like, oh, I need to make sure that they're in prison at some point. Bello Betty asked about someone to Kuma. She says, "I want to become the commander of the East Army, but Dragon would not give that position to anyone unless you allow it." And Kuma says, "So a woman with a bad mouth will become a commander? Fine by me." I guess that's in reference to him liking Ginny, Dragon talked to Kuma about Vegapunk. Dragon said he never recommended Vegapunk to Kuma since it's impossible to meet Vegapunk while he's in Punk Hazard. However, an accident just happened at Punk Hazard, the huge explosion by Caesar Clown, and Vegapunk had to move his laboratory. Dragon said the defense of the new laboratory is still weak, so you should go and meet him now. Kuma says, "Thanks, Dragon. If I manage to cure Bonnie, I would like to fight alongside you again." Man, I already know that sentence right there is going to bother a substantial portion of the online reader base for sure. Considering all of the fallout and controversy with Dragon coming out of the previous chapter. But Dragon says, "Just leave fate to the blow of the wind, my friend." Ah, that's interesting that he said that. I think that's probably giving us insight into what Dragon's devil fruit power is. As most of us know, the popular theory is that he either has the air or wind Logia, or he has some kind of mythical Zoan that allows him to control the wind or something like that. He definitely has a wind-based ability. That seems to be 100% confirmed. Cut back to Bonnie. She's learning to fight and can even defeat an adult in hand-to-hand combat even when she's training in child form. Kuma arrived at Sorbet Kingdom to meet with Bonnie. Kuma brought Bonnie in a box to Egghead Island, which was still a winter island. They meet Vegapunk, whose head was still big. Bonnie played with Sentomaru while Vegapunk and Kuma talked. Vegapunk said to Kuma that it was possible to cure Bonnie's disease, and that he will use a new technology of cell transplanted that wasn't used yet in any regular hospital, but the cost will be very high, just like creating a cyborg. Vegapunk tested Kuma's blood and was shocked when he discovered that Kuma was a buccaneer. Vegapunk asked why Kuma came to meet a government man like him, and Kuma said that he trusts Dragon. Kuma asked Vegapunk how was his blood different from a human blood, and Vegapunk said that there wasn't enough samples to come up with a clear explanation. So back to this whole buccaneer stuff. We talked about this before. I think that Joy Boy may have been a buccaneer, or I don't know, at least affiliated with them in some way. I also think that Blackbeard is for sure a buccaneer as well, and considering that their blood is different from a normal human, it's probably because they're half giant or something, right? I'm assuming that's what they are. They're a giant human hybrid or something. If not, then they're some kind of alien race human hybrid possibly. By alien, I mean whatever species come from the surrounding satellite planet moon things, the winged tribes, Birkins and all the other ones, even though they don't have wings. You know what I'm saying? There could be others maybe that don't have wings. I don't know. We still don't know everything. We know very little about that stuff at this point. Vegapunk says, "Kuma, become a host of the clone army I'm planning to create, and I will cure Bonnie for free." Kuma says, "I will accept any condition for Bonnie, but what will your clones do? Vegapunk says they will become Marines. I will make them shoot laser beams to defeat evil pirates and have strong bodies to be used as a shield for innocent people. So yeah, this also coincides with Vegapunk working with Kizaru and Sentomaru, because that's why Sentomaru is there, you know, playing with Bonnie. Vegapunk was like reverse engineering Kizaru's devil fruit ability through the lineage factor, and that's ultimately what became of the laser beams that the Pacifistas shoot. Cut to Mary Joie. We can see that Saint Saturn is actually listening to their entire conversation. Saturn says that Vegapunk has no idea how to utilize this chance. I have another idea. So yeah, Saturn has like Egghead bugged or something, and he's just been listening this whole time. You know, it makes sense because he's the warrior god of science. So yeah, I guess he's tied to that. But I think the whole thing with Saturn is that he's kind of like Steve Jobs of science. You know, like he's not like the actual engineer getting stuff done. He's kind of just like the idea man who just takes other people's ideas and makes you think that like he came up with it. As to where like Vegapunk is more like Steve Wozniak. Oh, and also I talked about this yesterday, but it's very possible that the sapphire scale disease that took Ginny's life and what Bonnie currently has and is being cured by Vegapunk here probably comes from Saturn. Like his devil fruit probably has like this side effect where it creates this disease. Back to Egghead Island, Kuma and Vegapunk are still talking. Kuma says, at first I plan to accept any condition, even if you've been a demon. But if your clones can save the lives of people, maybe this is the purpose why I was born. Vegapunk says, you are such a saint. And Kuma says, no, I'm just a pacifista. Kuma uses the Japanese word with pacifista in katakana. So yeah, more parallels to Kuma being like a saint or a martyr or some kind of religious figure here, which was always the case from him since day one when we saw him walking with Doflamingo carrying the Bible. Vegapunk then says, I like that word. Let's use it to call the warriors of the future that we will create. So this finally clears up how Bonnie was cured of Sapphire Scale and how Kuma was put into this whole program and why the Pacifistas are based off of him. Now also the whole thing about let's use it to call warriors of the future that we'll create. I think that's supposed to parallel to the past because, you know, like we've been talking about for many years on the channel, Oda loves to retell the same story over and over again. He's been doing it since the beginning of the series. Like it all relates back to whatever happened 800 or 900 years ago with the original Joy Boy and Emu story. And this probably has something to do with the ancient robot that is currently an Egghead, which also is currently reactive, I think, or reactivated in one of the previous chapters before we went into this flashback. But also 200 years ago, it reactivated and like attacked Mary Joie. I'm pretty sure those were like the pacifistas of the Void Century or whatever. So this is supposed to parallel to that. And I wonder if we're going to find out soon, you know, all of the other contingencies that were put into Kuma's programming and why he's doing what he's doing, because he's kind of on autopilot right now. You know, he went back to Mary Joie, started climbing up the red line and attacked it or did whatever. But we still don't know why. And there was also all these other contingencies put into him for him to protect the Sunny. You know, remember that? You know, pre and post time skip or during the time skip. And considering that the next chapter is 1100, there's going to probably be like a huge reveal in that chapter. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we straight up see what Joy Boy looks like. You know, something big like that. At the minimum, something to do with Luffy. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. And if you liked it, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day and I'll see you in the next one.